Yo guys, what is going on? It is your boy Nick from On the Foot Market. I am back with our weekly Team of the Week aggregate prediction / video / content / foot economist is here. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, Nick. How are you?
I'm very good. So guys, we're doing this weekly on this YouTube channel, and we're going through, Jamie works through many different. What do you do, Jamie? Just give the people who are new here like a brief.
Sure.
I guess.
So we take Team of the Week predictions from a bunch of people that do it in the community. We try and take like some of the best predictors in the community. We have 7 predictors, people from Foothead, from FootWiz, guys that do it just in the community regularly. And I've created a sort of sorting algorithm that takes all of their picks and then sort of filters it down to one Team of the Week prediction, kind of taking the best of all the predictions, and we weight it. That algorithm weights it based on like a bunch of different factors. But like sort of the main ones are like the amount of times a specific player has been picked by the number of different predictors, and then it also weights it based on the likelihood that, or rather the strength of the predictor's prediction, right? So if like a predictor tends to get more predictions right, then their choices are weighted a little bit more heavier than the predictors that have a lower average score.
Yeah. So last week, I think the week before. We started this in Team of the Week 8. Do you know our exact score in Team of the Week 8?
It was 14.
All right, so 14
out of 23.
And the average, Jamie's got a spreadsheet that kind of tracks the competition of these guys' average scores per week. The highest average score, I believe, we're talking up to Team of the Week 7 almost, or around that time was about 14 flat. Mm-hmm. So we did, our worst so far was 14. Last week we hit 16 out of 23, which is very good. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if we can stay, I was talking to Jamie about it, where I felt like Robertson had a shot to get in. I just didn't really say anything. I feel like that's what we're going to do moving forward too, is like we're going to use this algorithm, but we're also going to talk about players that we feel like EA might lean towards putting in. Right. So last week we had a 16, which I think if we can float between 15 to 18, like, that's great. It's very hard to predict every single person getting in and knowing exactly what EA is going to do, because they do have weird preferences and things like that. So it looks like last week, to be honest, if you look at it, it's up on the screen for you guys. We basically hit all the big ones outside of David Silva, and we put Bernardo Silva, which I'll give a half point for. But to be honest, like the only ones we really missed out on, man, were just like discard informs, and I think that really comes down to like EA just kind of choosing different players, maybe spreading the wealth out of the league. But in terms of like the big boys last week, I think we hit Hector. You were very keen on Hector last week. Like you thought he was going to get in, and that was a really good shout, because he was only a 3 out of 6 out of all the predictions we had. So like I think last week as well we had a predictor that was late. So I don't know,
yeah, we did.
Right, if we full on included him.
Yeah, we didn't.
So yeah, I mean, look, it hit some. Royce, I think I felt really strongly about Royce. I think the more you started listening to me, you were like, all right, yeah, Royce is in. So yeah, I think we did well last week. I think we did a good job. A lot of people, I think there was 1 or 2 predictions that had a Witzel in, and I was like, no, and you were like, no, it's not going to happen. So we didn't have any live items in there. So we're trying to keep this very natural. If you guys are watching, we're going to go to Team of the Week 10 right now, but we're trying to keep this very legitimate. We don't want you guys to feel like that we are like doing any kind of market manipulation or anything silly like that. This is just something to bring you guys every week, so you guys on Tuesday or late Monday night can kind of have an idea of like just what to expect with this upcoming Team of the Week, and probably compiling a majority of what everybody thinks just kind of into one big prediction. So let's talk about this Team of the Week. What do you want to start with here?
So I do want to, just as a general disclaimer for this Team of the Week, this is an international break Team of the Week, so predicting for international Team of the Weeks are generally more difficult on average than regular Team of the Week, so just kind of keep that in mind as we go through some of these names. It was interesting as we're looking at some of the picks. More than usual, there was a pretty strong consensus from the Team of the predictors in terms of like who they all agreed was going to get in, which for an international Team of the Week, I mean, based on what I just said, right, like you would think it'd be more difficult to have all the people come together and agree on who was going to get in, but I guess either they're all sort of copying each other, which is probably would not be a good thing, or at least they think that the sort of front runners are very solid front runners, which I guess would be a good thing. In terms of like highlighted players, I mean, Kane would be a good one, Mahrez, Wijnaldum. A couple of interesting ones to keep an eye on, obviously, would be that Gnabry card. If he comes out, I mean, if he gets cheap enough with Team of the Week SBCs, with if they do a guaranteed Team of the Week tradable version, that could maybe push down the price of that Sancho SBC. Another one to keep in mind for that would be that Orban card right there. So his base card is a German card, but like we saw last week when Firpo got changed to a Spanish card when he got his Team of the Week card, Orban now plays his international football with Hungary. So if they release a Team of the Week card for him, I would imagine they would change his Team of the Week nationality for that card to Hungarian as well. So that'll just be something to keep an eye on, because if it gets released as German, then obviously investments for like someone like a Hector or whoever you're playing around with and doing like short-term trading methods with that Sancho SBC, you obviously want to think about getting rid of those. But other than that, I mean, I think it's going to be a pretty good week for. I mean, obviously, Team of the Week 10 is one of the most important Team of the Weeks, and I'm sure you guys know this if you're watching this. But Team of the Week 10 is one of the most important Team of the Weeks that we're going to get all year, because the strength of it determines if and when they drop those Team of the Week SBCs. The strength of it determines how much demand there is for those Team of the Week SBCs. And obviously, as traders, we want there to be high demand for the Team of the Week SBCs, because we want the likes of the 83s and the discard informs to go up in price. If that's their requirements, assuming basically what they did last year, if they repeat it again this year. On aggregate, I mean, what do you think, Nick? Is this a strong enough Team of the Week? I mean, it's obviously not comparable to a Team of the Week 10 from last year, but what do you think?
It's got some headliner players. I think if you just were to throw in, I think if EA were to do something where, I think we'll figure out tomorrow, really, like, I think if there is a Team of the Week SBC, I think if you see, we talked about it briefly, there's an outside shot that Van Dijk could get in. It's slight, but it could. I guess the same thing would go with Salah. You'd get another headliner player in there. I think if you had the likes of like Salah, Kane, Mars, Van Dijk, like Wijnaldum, that would probably be enough. I know there's no Messi or crazy person in the Team of the Week, but I think if they were to throw a little bit of the EA magic with whatever it is, man, Quaresma, stuff like that, just kind of tossing in a player to toss it in for the sake of it, then we might be more likely to see a Team of the Week SBC. I think a Team of the Week SBC is inevitably probably just going to come regardless. The deal with the Team of the Week SBCs usually with the untradeable is that you have to open it for that Team of the Week, but the tradable is usually you can stock it for future Team of the Weeks. So I think it's a thing where EA might not actually care about this Team of the Week with the tradable pack if they do release the general one where you could literally do the SBC and just stock it for another Team of the Week, so you could open it up on a Wednesday for another Team of the Week.
Right.
And yeah, I think, look, if that happens, the demand is going to be huge for it. If it's one of the ones where it's not specific to the Team of the Week, the tradable, it's going to be massive. They're that we were talking about before we recorded, like, that's a reason for people to open more packs when they see 83s being 3K and 84s being 7K. They feel like they're going to get more for their money on the packs. If a discard inform is 15K, like, they just feel like, I think the user feels better about opening packs and they justify it more. So right. I think in turn, EA gets more money. So yeah, that would be interesting. I would also like to see it where if we do get the Team of the Week that's on screen right now, it's not anything special. And I think if they were to release a Team of the Week SBC, I just wanted to add this comment before we talk about anything investing or trading wise with this Team of the Week or other thoughts, is that I think it would actually be really, really profitable to do the SBC tradable if you could do it for like 30,000 coins, 35. I think that's what it was during Black Friday last year. Yeah. At some point, I think there was a point where it was like that price.
I remember Golden Bear did a bunch of them.
Yeah. So I last year I stocked 25 for a future Team of the Week, and actually one of my close buddies, who you guys might know, which is Felipe, he did like 30 to 40, and he opened it with the Team of the Week with like Neymar, Hazard, and all those guys, and he hit like Aguero and Neymar in like the 30 packs, and he ended up making like $1.5 million. So I think if that does happen, there's definitely going to be a profit potential to actually just do the Team of the Week SBC and hold it for another week. It was just a side note that I wanted to add in, but obviously the price has to be right. So now talking about this Team of the Week, I think just something right off the bat that's very, very interesting for me to note is when I look at this Team of the Week and the potentials that could get in, just talking in investments before we talk about anything here, is probably Andy Robertson. That's what I look at here, because you're either going to get a Wijnaldum inform or that outside shot of a Van Dijk, or the small chance of both, which it probably will not happen. If you were to get another Van Dijk inform, if you were to get that, because you guys understand that Wijnaldum inform is meta. Like, people will, that is a very good card, and his gold card is it can play on this year's FIFA still. So I think that a lot of people, you'll probably see a lot of people using that strong link, because I don't really think there's a ton of other Premier League strong links that are Dutch players from the top of my head that I can think of,
Not other than I can think of now.
So, I mean, I think a lot of people will be maybe using a kind of triangle of him, Robertson, and Van Dijk.
Yep.
So I would expect Robertson's inform to probably rise up if Wijnaldum or Van Dijk does get in. Mars, one's to watch right now. Mars, I can tell you guys, is going to get in Team of the Week. He's had one of the better performances this week. But he's 280,000 coins right now. So I think you have to get out of that today.
Yeah, wow, I didn't know he was that expensive.
Yeah, he's 280 on PS. He's 250 on Xbox. I'm stabbing myself in the butt right now because he was, after the game, was 220. And he was 250 when he scored his second goal. But I wanted like 210, 200. I still feel like 220 was like a little too steep. I thought he would only get to like 230, 240. And I woke up this morning and I saw 270 and I was like, oh my. So definitely, guys, get out of that if you can. I think you made a good point about Gnabry. I don't know where to value Gnabry's card. Like, I don't know if that's like a 70 or 80K card, or I don't know if that's closer to like a Bellarabi, like, you know? Like
yeah, that's going to be a tricky one because you're going to have like the weird kind of demand from the Hector or from the Player of the Month SBC. But you're also going to have him getting pushed down because of the packs in the Team Week if they drop the Team Week SBC. So it's going to be an awkward one. I think he's definitely better than Bellarabi, just like as a player. I also think he's better than Sancho as a player. So that's going to be a tricky one. I agree. I mean, Bellarabi was going for like 30, 40K before. I think it was like 35K.
Yeah.
Absent of any SBC demand. So I think Gnabry is at a minimum better than that, or more expensive than that. I
completely agree.
I do want to make a point, piggyback on some of the stuff that you also made. Like I don't know what you think about some of the gold meta cards right now, right, Nick? In terms of like their prices, but I do think, at least in the short term, I think we're going to see a rebound on Thursday. After rewards. So I think if you're looking to make some short-term flips, that buying some of the cards that could link with some of these players that people get in their player picks. I mean, someone like Amaris, you think about the strong links that work with those. You think about again, like someone like Robertson, other players that link with Van Dijk. If he gets in as sort of like an outside shot, or we can just link it with Wijnaldum. Other players that link with Kane. You could work players in with that. I mean, in terms of like meta though, there's not too much else that you could really make. That are really going to. If people get them in a player pick, it's not going to go out. They're not going to go out of the way. But if someone like a Salah gets in, or someone like a Van Dijk gets in, like that's a sort of like an immediate catalyst that you should go think, okay, I need to go double down in players that strong link with those players, or and really sort of the look is like it's just, if you're thinking about it, like Liverpool players, right? I mean, if you can that are like sort of like a Fabinho, sort of off the top of my head, but. Yeah, I think in terms of meta, that's probably what I'd be thinking about. Just in terms of like a short-term flip to buy those golds and those informs so that you can sell them on Thursday, when I think we're going to get at least a temporary rebound from the weekend league rewards. Because I do think people are, I mean, Nick, I'd be curious to see what you think about this, but I do think people are going to have more of a green light, or they're going to give themselves the green light to go buy on Thursday. Not saying that you guys should, but I do think there's going to be sort of like a casual audience out there that's going, okay, so the pre-crash or whatever was supposed to be the pre-crash is done. Now I can go buy players with these coins that I just made.
I think that's true. I think the market's going to go up. I think the market's going to be a normal Thursday.
Yep.
Completely. I think it's going to fly up. So I think something interesting I want to add there, and I never talk about this, guys. You guys know I don't believe in like really. Well, last week I did gold investing. I actually bought like Jordi Alba's. I bought Lewandowski's. I bought Kane's. I bought Boateng's, and Boateng actually went up 20K a card because of Ta. So I made like almost $1 million last week buying meta golds, and I wanted to see how it worked on rewards Thursdays flipping. And boy, does it work. If you list for lazy buyers too, I mean, damn, like they sell like crazy.
Yeah.
So just to talk about something very interesting this week that I have a little bit of a tip for you guys. Kane interests me a lot because Kane right now is at a very low price. Kane's gold. And if he does go out of packs, you're going to be looking at a tasty little flip on Thursday if you don't have a supply coming.
Yep.
And that's not like buying an SBC card that's going out of packs, guys. It's way different. That's a card that's going up anyways. Let's use Fabinho as an example, guys. Look what happened to him last week because he had the live item card out. So he was out of packs. That's the most used card in FIFA this year, period. Most games played. The guy went from like, I think 60K on the sell-off Sunday to 87 at rewards on Thursday. And that's because he didn't have that supply being 85 rated coming in. So I think something that really reminds me of that as well is Mars' gold card, because right now in the Prem you have literally a Sterling live card, and you have Mars' I guess he'll have the second inform.
Yep.
You have Mars' first inform. You have Sterling's UCL card. So you have 2 UCL Sterlings. Really, like the average player who's using a Prem team is just going to rock with Mars gold or something like that. So now that that's out of packs as well, being similar to Fabinho as an 85 rated, obviously doesn't have as many games, but you should see the rise. Maybe instead of being 2 or 3K on a Thursday, maybe go to 4 to 6K because he's out of packs. You may get a little bit of extra coins there with the gold. I think 2 other things I look at when I see this team of the week. I see Schmeichel potentially with Allison, and I'll let you go on that. There's a few predictors who have put Allison in this week. Schmeichel is still only a 4 out of 7. He is like the majority there, but it's still, there's a debate there. And I think the second thing I want to talk about with everybody in the video is the importance of that Funes Mori card if he does get into Team of the Week. That guy is going to be a fantastic discard inform investment if you can get him during lightning rounds on Friday. If he does get in, you're looking for a guy like that, where if you're a FIFA player who is, there's always guys coming into Jamie's stream, which is on Twitch. You guys should check that out. I'm plugging, but I'm serious, or my stream, that always are kind of like, hey, I'm going away for 3 to 4 weeks. I have 2 million coins. What are you going to put it in? And I usually tell them, I usually say, Footmas is around the corner. There's a lot of inform requirements during Footmas. Buy all your coins into discard inform. Go buy somebody with the nationality of Spanish, German, Argentinian, something Portuguese, something like that.
Yep.
And just forget about it. If that Funes Mori gets in, man, that guy, I'm telling you, that kind of card, because of the amount of packs, you have 24 hours of lightning rounds going to start on Friday. Then on Cyber Monday, you're going to have another X amount of hours coming. That guy's going to have a lot of supply, which means he's going to go down to 10K. And it will have a lot of supply, but it's not going to stop somebody from going up if they're going to consistently get into solutions.
Right.
So that's something I see as an outside thing. I'm trying to think, is there anything else in here that I see that looks like a plan of action? I think something to mention is the Mkhitaryan has a shot at getting in.
Yeah.
I think if you want to start talking about that, I think there's 2 players that I've seen in Foothead and a few other predictions that are possibles that have been in theirs. Salah seems very unlikely. I didn't see Van Dijk in a ton. Salah seems like if they're going to throw it in, that's that headliner player to sell the packs. But the 2 players that actually look like they have a shot is Mkhitaryan and Allison. It looks like they have a lower shot. I want to know your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I mean, so I really don't have much more to add there other than agreeing that they have a shot. I mean, Mkhitaryan obviously would be interesting because you could think about getting his gold card, which would be sort of like a decent SBC fodder investment as well if if his supply gets frozen when he goes out of packs. So that'd be something interesting to think about. Obviously, Salah has got a chance as well. And then, as you said, Allison. I think the reasoning on Allison is he helped Brazil keep a clean sheet. He didn't have like a fantastic performance or anything. I think he got 5 saves or 4 saves or something like that, which was that's not tremendously outrageous for a goalkeeper. Usually, to get in as a goalkeeper, you have to have sort of the average that I've seen is more than 8 saves, maybe a penalty save, or sort of at a minimum they keep a clean sheet. But, I mean, their picks for goalkeepers is very, very difficult. I don't believe, Nick, I don't know if you want to try and check this while I'm talking about it, but I don't believe Allison has really moved all that much on the news of him potentially getting it in Team of the Week. I think, this is... He's
up a ton.
Is he really? Okay.
He was 37K on PS and 40 before the game on Xbox on Friday. Uh-huh. And right now on Xbox, he's 71, and PS, he's 66.
Yeah, so I mean, usually we would advise to sell into the hype anyway, but that one... Really for me is like a definite 100% sell into the hype. I think it's when you're talking about predicting for goalkeepers, you might as well close your eyes and pick your name out of a hat. It's very, very difficult to pick goalkeepers.
Well, yeah, guys. Also, something to look at is I think that something that can tell you almost the price is that his Champions League card is 35K. And that's an 86 rated. And literally the inform will be basically the same thing as that Champions League card.
Right.
It will be maybe he'll get another +1. He'll get a +2 in reflexes instead of a +1.
Right.
But I mean, if it's 35K, guys, that's not even going to go much higher than I can't imagine the card would be more than 50.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree. It's
not worth your time there.
I agree. Definitely sounds hype for that one. Another one. Although Kolarov is very expensive right now. His regular base gold card is it's 6,000 or something like that on Xbox
really?
At the time we're recording it. Maybe it's closer to 5.
Yeah.
If that drops back down during sort of at any point, that could be something. I mean, if you guys want to try and snipe that, I mean, he's obviously very good SBC fodder because he's got that 82 rating. I think he's the only reasonably priced 82 rated left back in the game. I mean, right now, unfortunately, that would have been if we could have got that a while ago, that would have been a really good buy. Unfortunately, he's obviously pretty expensive right now. So, if you do see a window where he drops down, towards those sort of normal price ranges, 2, 3K, even below that, honestly, maybe pick him up again. But at this point, I just wanted to mention to see, you guys can see he's very expensive right now. But just if he does get cheap, just sort of keep it in mind as an option because obviously, if he gets that inform, he'll be out of packs.
Yeah, and I think something else that we could talk about, because the Sancho SBC is available for, I think, 13 more days. What I'm going to do right now is I want to go to, because, guys, look, this Sancho SBC has crazy demand. It's nuts. We were talking about before we were recording. It's Cheapest Bundesliga inform right now is 33,000 coins. So you basically need a Bundesliga inform in one of the solutions, which is making a lot of these cards go up in value. I think I've got 3 points to say here because I think that this team of the week and last team of the week, and I guess we kind of expand upon just predictions and we talk about some trading in here as well, is that there's a guy in team of the week right now. I think it's Alassane Playa.
Yep, the right wing, I think.
All right, so he's French, guys, and he's the cheapest 83. He's basically the cheapest. I mean, the cheapest inform in Bundesliga is 32,750. He's 33,250. He's got a +5 rating on the cheapest. Well, I guess Hazard's there too. Thorgan's about the same price. I like him. He's French. He's got good stats. Like that might get up a little bit higher, not necessarily because of the SBC, but because he's got that floor, and he's actually usable. Another thing I wanted to point out is you've got this team of the week. You've got Orban, that guy you talked about. He's going to be. You've also got Jedvaj, I believe, and I think they're both in Bundesliga. Dabur maybe. So you've got. From what I could see, I mean, Pavlenka, you've got like 4 more Bundesliga informs coming in. 5 maybe? 5 Rashika?
Yeah.
Wow. So I think as a trading plan, guys, here's something you guys can do tomorrow. Out of those 5 Bundesliga informs, I guarantee you 3 will get in. So let's just say 3 at minimum. We try to nail these predictions. This is less about the prediction accuracy, and this is more about trading. If those guys all get in, your game plan should be tomorrow on Wednesday when people open up packs. Look out for those guys to be listed at 15, 20K. When people are opening packs tomorrow, which they do every team of the week for the first like 20 during FIFA, like they're not going to remember that those guys are inflated for Jadon Sancho SBC. They're going to just pack them and list them up for 15, 20,000 coins. So definitely if you guys are a trader or a sniper, that's going to be something you guys can do tomorrow where I think they'll be listed really low until people finally go, oh, and then the correct price, and then they go up to what the cheapest Bundesliga inform is for the demand there.
Right.
So yeah, I mean that's something that I think you guys could probably do tomorrow.
That's a very good point, and that goes for all team of the weeks as well. I mean, there a lot of times when you have like SBC fodder that is, and even I mean sometimes meta cards, there's like a misvaluing of the card in the beginning. Like if people are not thinking, if people just look at like one card, right, and they just say, hey, this is a pretty good card, like this is really for the meta. If they look at the card, they see the stats, they go, hey, this is pretty good. If they don't, it's like let's use Wijnaldum as an example. Like if Wijnaldum gets in, he could be, well, to be fair, he's probably going to be hyped up quite a bit in the beginning. But if he gets in there and people say or don't really think about the Van Dijk strong link, they don't think about that Robertson triangle that you could make. He could initially be just in the beginning, like they could be misvalued, right? Like just those are kind of things where people they might look at the stats, they see the stats, he's 84, he's like okay, he's probably going to be a decent inform. They just toss him up, at whatever price like people are putting him up at that time, but they don't think about the sort of the long term, like how meta he could be if the links work out in different ways, or they don't really think like one layer deeper, if you will, and that's as a trader and investor, that's kind of what you need to do to make profit.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I'm just trying to see if I can add in any last thoughts into the video. Just looking around, I think AU will be, if he gets in, he'll be another potential Premier League inform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you were touching upon Kane. I don't know how much is going to go up for Kane. Not disagreeing with you, but I'm more adding that I feel like he's just kind of a Premier League card.
Oh, in terms of like complimentary goods?
Yeah, I just think that people will probably throw him in a Premier League team. I think Mars has a good point because I think Mars is different. I think if you want a hybrid Mars, you're going to have to get a strong link from somebody on City.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a lot of options there, so I don't know which one. Probably maybe the most accessible would probably be that gold Fernandinho. Or maybe gold Jesus, but I feel like sometimes the supply on the Jesus would be a problem.
Yeah.
What else, man? Anything?
Maybe think about Walker too. Like if people are running like a 4-5-1.
Well, I feel like genuinely, I think Kolarov is interesting, guys. I think a lot of people will expect Kolarov to be like 20K, and I actually think I've played a lot of FIFA this year, and I've played against a lot of Kolarovs. So
I am French loves him.
It's weird, dude. Like he's got not a lot of pace, but he's being used a lot. So I would say that Kolarov. I mean, let's talk.
He's got good competition with like an Alexandra though, which would be, I mean, like, and you've got the links with that Alexandra links with Ronaldo and all that kind of stuff. So that, I mean, there's going to be competition there in terms of like upper tier.
No, completely. I'm just trying to think about things that people can mass buy on Friday during lightning rounds because you know as well as I do, like at some point informs get too cheap on Fridays.
Yep.
During the lightning rounds, so I'm probably thinking that. I know you love the Bundesliga. If I would say Gnabry has a shot to get too cheap, and like there's a lot of meta Bundesliga cards, so that could rebound pretty well. You're probably looking for more safer stuff to buy on Fridays, guys, because lightning rounds are always really hard to judge exactly what's the cheapest price. So like, if it's more safe where like if a guy like Gnabry becomes a discard 84 or becomes literally 3 to 5K more than the cheapest 84 rated, you more have a safety net there of like knowing that that's too low rather than like trying to guess the price of a Mahrez.
What do you think about an Alexander Arnold in terms of his links with Van Dijk? Do you think that would? I mean, the problem would be obviously that Walker and Valencia on that side. By the way, Valencia could get an in for him.
I saw that as well.
As a right mid, which would be really strange.
Dude, I think if we get 2 Liverpool players this week, including a central mid and Wijnaldum and like Arnold or Van Dijk, dude, bro, this Robertson card is gonna fly, dude, this week. Yeah. Literally, it's already started to go up. I mean, I'm not trying to like hype up investments, guys, but we've already got this lack of a good EPL left back, a good quality one. Like I know that he has. I think there's one stat that's bad about him, which is the jumping is 61. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't stop people from paying mil for Zanetti with 50 jumping. So it's kind of one of those things where, I mean, for us, I know, like for me, I picked up like 10 at 90 or 88 the other day, like Sunday night when he was being sold a little bit. The thing that I always want to recommend to people in terms of knowing if a good card is a good investment, I think we'll take a little bit of a sidetrack on just a little bit of trading advice here, is my tip is always when you see a card like how many times have you guys been trading or you, Jamie, specifically, and you have seen a card all team of the week never drop? Like he's been bid and bought all week. Like you've just seen it the whole week always be high in price and never dropping. Usually that tells me that the card has just an ultra demand. Like, so when it's out of packs or when the market is going up, that it will go up. Yeah. So like I'm trying to give some reasoning behind why I did buy that Andy, because all week the guy didn't go below 90. The bids were going higher than the bins. I was like, oh my, like this is popular.
And then I mean one point I want to make about that too is so we've talked about this guy. We talked about Robertson quite a bit in this video, right? So one of the effects of that could be people go out and for that to watch this video and people go out and buy him.
I agree.
I remember. I mean, this is actually a quote from I think it's Warren Buffett. I don't know if it's actually him, but it might be. Warren Buffett said he likes buying a bad company at a good price rather than a good company at a bad price. Right, so the point I'm trying to make here is if you see Robertson getting too expensive, like if he starts going to like 120, 150, based on the back of this video, that's like when we make specific like recommendations like that, like you have to do some sort of thinking for your own too in terms of the valuation that you're going to buy that card at, right? You can't just like blindly go and buy it, because if you come and watch this, say 45 minutes, an hour after it's been actually dropped, his price could already have gotten away from us in terms of like a good buying range. So that's just a general piece of advice when we give specific recommendations.
I agree.
Remember that quote.
I think something as well that we're going to talk about is probably not investing in much of this team of the week. Last year was a disaster. I think like almost everyone in the community lost coins on Team of the Week 10. Last year it was, I tweeted it out, it was like Pogba, Nainggolan, Vidal, Hazard, Icardi, Mustafi. So like last year everyone invested, I invested, everybody invested, and like people lost millions. I lost like probably $1 million. Like, just be careful, guys. Like, if there is a Team of the Week repeatable for this Team of the Week, the supply is going to be overkill. You're probably going to need like 8 sets of SBCs that make any of these guys go up a ton. Mm-hmm. And a card is really going to have some really big demand to rise out of packs. I mean, I look at it this Team of the Week. If I were to look at a mass investment, if at some point we get the combination of a repeatable SBC and lightning rounds on the same day, I'm probably looking at Wijnaldum. Yeah. That's probably my guy I will go in on.
And the thing that's nice about it though, because this Team of the Week gets very cheap, right, and has a tough time recovering because there's so much supply. The nice thing about that though is the players in this Team of the Week are cheap, right? So when people think about when they're looking to make teams, they go, hey, why is this Mahrez so cheap, right? And then when they start making teams, they sort of base it around like a Mahrez that they bought for really cheap. So the complementary goods that you can buy that link with those players become more valuable when they get cheap during when the players that people are building around get cheap during this Team of the Week.
I agree with that. Yeah. No, that's a good point, dude. I think we beat it to death. I don't think we really have much more to talk about. That's probably. I won't be doing anything crazy with this Team of the Week tomorrow. I'll be staying away. I think there's a lot of panic. I don't think there's a lot of market panic, but I do think there's still a scare factor of buying the newer cars that keep coming out. Mm-hmm. And I think that will really apply with this Team of the Week. I think people will not touch them till like this weekend if they want them. Something to point out that I was just going to talk about that I forgot. I think just going forward, and we will talk about this because we do this weekly, but we're gonna talk about this in Team of the Week 11. I wanted to briefly have you guys ready to understand this and prepare some coins for next Wednesday.
Yep.
If we do get a Team of the Week repeatable SBC, people will stack packs, and they will probably not open a ton for this Team of the Week. They will save them for a good Team of the Week. What you will see, I will go on the record and tell you, I made 1.2 million coins last year because the week after one of these Team of the Weeks with the Team of the Week SBC, which now when we get to Team of the Week 10, it seems they drop them like every 5 weeks now. They will probably start dropping them every 5 weeks regardless of the Team of the Week. It's what the trend was for a good while last year.
It was like 2 in a row. They did Team of the Week 15, Team of the Week 20.
Yeah, exactly. So what I was saying was like last year, Willian made me a ton because what happened is Willian's a popular Brazilian player. He's a new card. People wanted to use him. It was the week after, and usually the week after Black Friday, the market flies because there's just so many packs open and so many people getting coins from FIFA points that everybody goes crazy in a buying frenzy until Footmas. I think really something interesting to look for and have some coins ready on next Wednesday is the potential of, if it is a good Team of the Week, if you have some marquee players that are going to be very used, you should get ready to trade because I think first hour people will get really low because everyone will save up packs to open. And that's a trading kind of technique you guys can use to kind of let them drop and drop and drop for about 20 minutes, and they will rebound on the same day because they just get too low.
Right.
And that's something that I would look out for in the following week, just as a kind of a trader's advice. I know I'm really extending the video, but I wanted to tell you guys that is something I will look to do.
And that could get even better if this Team of the Week is bad and prices stay relatively low for the SBC. So if this Team of the Week is bad, it's not all bad for traders. It could be like even better next week, right? Or the week after, the week following, because then the SBC for the repeatable, tradable Team of the Week that they can save for future Team of the Weeks would be cheaper overall, and more people are going to do that instead of the Team of the Week 10.
I completely agree. 100%, guys. So, I mean, that's probably everything in terms of prediction. I'm a little bit skeptical, as we said, with international break. I don't think we're going to do as well this week. Not trying to, like, put a damp on the video.
Yeah.
It's going to be harder to do well this week. Last week, 16 is very, very, very good. We have a good amount of players that are, I mean, look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 11, 12, 13. You've got 13 players in this Team of the Week that are 6 out of 7s and above. So I think it's all about, can we get 12 of those right? And then can we get some of the sways on the 4 to 5s to push us to like 15 to 16? So it'll be interesting to see. I think we should start up something, man, where like if we get under a certain amount every week, I don't know, dude. We like
a punishment?
I don't know.
Forfeit?
I don't know. We go back, we do some like, we do gifted subs in the Twitch stream or something. I have no idea. We'll do something like that. We'll work in something like that, guys, for
that could be fun.
Future weeks. Yeah, it could be fun. It could be a cool way to go with everything. Guys, Jamie, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Nick. Fun as always.
Guys, sorry for such a long video. Apologize. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. Obviously, Jamie's links are going to be in the description below. He streams on Twitch and has a lot of useful stuff out on Twitter. So, yeah, we will see you guys next week. Happy Team of the Week 10. Be very careful. Don't do anything stupid. It's going to be crazy. We're going to be covering you guys over all platforms on what's going on with the market in the next week or so. And obviously, thank you guys for tuning in again. We will see you guys next week. Peace out.
See ya.